I'm here with Daniel diSilva, who's going to talk to us about this movie that I'm going to share with you is a great Christmas gift, a great stocking stuffer. Even though it might sound kind of odd, it's called The Sexual Revolution, but I want you to hear this great story. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Bonnie, for having me. What sounds odd about sexual revolution?
For a Christmas gift, yeah, it just sounds like a little weird.
I get it all the time. Yeah.
I'm sure. So you made this movie for the anniversary of Humanae Vitae, is that correct?
That is correct. I mean, it comes out right during the 50th anniversary year of Humanae Vitae, but it's not limited to that year. I mean, I think the 50th anniversary or Humanae Vitae itself is sort of it's forever, right? It's a work of art that Pope Paul VI wrote that was not meant for the time it was written in. It was meant for forever. It's never going to change. The truth of the Humanae Vitae is never going to change.
Right.
So.
I always talk about that document as kind of misunderstood. You know, people are, who are against it, right? Say, well, it's because you're trying to, keep women down. When in reality, it's empowering to women. It's very pro-woman.
Very pro, and wow, what an opening to go into that. So yes, this sexual revolution of the last century was an attempt to free women from their fertility, to separate sex from babies, to free love, right? The only problem was the reverse happened, and we of course know that fertility is their power.
Right.
Fertility is the power of a woman. I'm not the person to speak about this, but NFP, natural family planning, the woman has so much power, and it's therein, and in other ways, obviously, of course, but it certainly wasn't to take away her fertility or to lock her, to allow her to have sex with so many partners and to be more like a man, and all these promises were made that they would be able to be free like men were free, and really nobody asked the men how broken our hearts are,
Right.
because we might have that quote ability to have free love. There's a lot of broken hearts among the men out there, and so the women get to share in that as well.
So tell me about your journey to come to this. I know you were a musician, and now you're making this film, and we want to get to the story of Alana too, but let's talk about you first and what brought you to make this film.
Well, Alana and her family actually approached me to make this film. I had done a film on Divine Mercy, the original image of Divine Mercy, and it went very well. And they saw that film. It was actually at a screening of that film, and they approached me about this film, told me about Alana's story, which I'm sure you'll cover. But I found it fascinating, and how it tied into not just Humanae Vitae and the writing, the Pope Paul's beautiful masterpiece, but also the scientists who developed NFP, John and Evelyn Billings from Australia, and the scientists, or mainly the scientists behind the pill, and how the people knew each other. And I had no idea about this story, so I listened to their pitch, and then I asked a few more questions, and I got the bug. I got fascinated with this whole thing, and then we started to interview people, and sure enough, it's not a secret that the two camps were sort of overlapped for a while. It wasn't until Dr. James Brown, just a funny name, but Dr. James Brown figured out and realized how much damage the pill was going to do to women that he said, I can't have anything to do with this pill, and they weren't testing it correctly, so he sort of jumped camp and went over to the Billings in Australia and worked with them.
Wow, that's it's so amazing too, and I really appreciated in the film how the truth of Margaret Sanger of wanting to rid the world of unfit, and her motive was very blunt, of who she found undesirable, that really very racist, just very very demeaning to the human spirit and human body.
Very true. Angela Franks, who of course teaches at St. John's Seminary in Boston, your stomping grounds, did a fascinating job. She's of course an expert on Margaret Sanger and about Dr. Gregory Pincus, who developed the pill, and she tells that story in a very concise and beautiful way. Actually, we filmed it at the seminary, so we've got all that beautiful wood in the background. It's a very nice scene. But yeah, it's all part of that. Margaret Sanger was not. It was no secret that she wanted to eradicate the world, but starting here, of the unfit, which she found as the poor people, those who didn't have the money to stay healthy, and she was on a mission, and she accomplished quite a bit along that path. So
I sometimes say, where different agencies place abortion clinics and things of that nature, Margaret Sanger would be dancing in the streets. She'd be so excited. And, there's a film campaign about how poorer communities and communities of color are targeted for cigarette stores and advertising. You can just replace those words with um, family planning or contraception or abortion clinic and have the same exact ad. So she is pretty happy these days. But your film talks about the beauty of where we're going to go with this, and really let people know, and this was mentioned in the film as well, that we're trying to be green about everything and organic about everything, but artificial contraception, we're just pumping chemicals into our bodies.
Very true, and it's taking its toll, in the water supply and in things like that. But yeah, you're talking about synthetic hormones. You're filling your bodies with a super foreign. It doesn't belong there, and they when they were first testing the pill on unsuspecting people, they had women in an insane asylum in Worcester, and then they went to Puerto Rico and they tested it. They tried to test it on prisoners, but they wouldn't let them. But then they went into the barrios, the poor neighborhoods, and they tested it on women there. They told these women that this might have an effect on their fertility temporarily, but then it would bounce back. So people with fertility problems they told them that they would take this pill for a while, it would suppress your fertility, but then you'd have this rebound. And unfortunately, for some of those people, that rebound never came. There were reports of deaths, there were reports of serious illnesses. None of this stuff was reported. They made the case, I want to say big pharma. At the time, pharma wasn't as big, but it was growing pharma, was able to make the case that these deaths and these illnesses were not related to the pill, even though everybody knows it was. I mean, these pills they would get them from the States, shipped to Puerto Rico, and they were laced with different chemicals, and sometimes they were trying different things out. It wasn't just the main ingredient. It's a terrible story, and I don't want to give the I don't want to have a spoiler alert here. They can see the DVD, but there's a lot of information that we just don't, in general, know about it. So
thanks so much for your time. This is a beautiful piece. We're really looking forward to it, and I hope people get it as stocking stuffers and for the family. And now we're going to go back to the rest of This Is the Day.